computer. I'm also going to turn the camera on, so I'm recording myself. And we have content. All right. So what we are going to do today is I lost Terry. Where the heck did Terry go? All right. So what we have been working on, Brittany and Jen's chair, is internal work. We've been working on things to just make it easier for everybody to understand the journey that they're on. So, in a nutshell, there's a lot of things that are trapped in here that we really wanted to work on getting out of my head, not only for coaches to more successfully be able to take clients down a journey, for you guys to like also be a little bit more clear of what your journey should look like through all of the phases. Um, what some of the things like we want to share with you, like some of the expectations that we have that you should also have for yourself, as well as if you do these things, the type of results that you'll receive. But not only that, tapping into some of the emotions that you might be feeling during these journeys, because believe it or not, they are very much true for many people. So there's certain things that you may feel that may feel uncomfortable, and explaining to you them that it's completely normal to feel these things during specific times of the journey. So we've created a roadmap that over the course of the next few months, probably we'll have everything done in a month. We'll be working and having private conversations with everybody, sharing the roadmap with you, letting you know where you are, because some of you have been with us for a long time. Some are brand new, and you're in different places of the roadmap, and just kind of one showing you where you have been, where you are currently, and maybe what we need to do to get you caught up to where you currently are. So Jen is actually going to start the call out by running you through the roadmap. And like I said, this is a tool that she'll probably tell you she's even excited about, because lots of things have lived in my head, which is a challenge when they're up here and they're not anywhere else. So do you want me to share the roadmap, Jen, or do you want me to give you the ability to share it?
I have it right here, so I can share it if you've
Share it
got.
on your screen?
Yep.
Okay, I'll give you permission. Go for it.
Okay. Fantastic.
And I'll watch for people to come in.
All right. Can you see this? I probably have to blow it up here.
Yeah.
Brittany, can you see it okay?
Yes, it's just maybe because I'm on my phone, it looks a little small, but
Yeah.
I see it. But I
And
can zoom in. It's fine.
okay, good. That way I can kind of roll through it. So, the roadmap to success, we start at phase one, which is foundation setting. This is your first 4 weeks. This is when you're put into the newbie group. We have a number of calls. We have a kickoff call. We have a post onboarding call. And then I usually set up, which you need to get on a call with me, a goal setting call. So that way, moving forward into the reset and recomp, you are well aware of, what the expectations are. I can answer any questions that you may have, kind of what the expectations for success, like what you should be doing within the app. And then also the anticipated results, and then also your expected emotions. So there's going to be a number of different emotions that you're going to go throughout these different phases. And some of it will just kind of continue to cycle through depending on where you're at. This bird's going to drive me crazy. Hang on. I got to move up to a different room. He's obnoxious.
He's obnoxious.
He likes to get loud.
All right, well, you're doing that. I will just kind of roll through it. So If you're not aware, there are technically 4 phases to the aesthetic freedom methodology or roadmap, if you guys are aware. So you start out when you come to us with the foundation setting, and that is the first 1 to 4 weeks. So that includes your onboarding week, as Jen said, and you have 3 weeks where we're really running you through an assessment, and we're taking you through a reset nutrition plan to kind of reset you. From that, we continue to move you into the second phase, which is the reset and recomp. So most of this phase, and this phase is really week 5 through 12. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's a 6 week. It's technically about 6 weeks long. We're taking you through that reset nutrition, as I said, and we're rolling you into your first carb cycle. So that really ends in about 6 weeks. And what we're doing during this time is we're resetting your body. And as I said, we're doing a recomp. So many people that come to us in a place of their body is just not where it needs to be. You've been dieting, you've been dieting. You've been
Been dieting.
lots of dieting. You've tried pretty much anything, and your metabolism is, for this lack of better words, pretty fucked up. So what we are doing to do is kind of recomp, settle all that out to get your body really moving like a machine again, increasing your metabolism. And so even when we have you in a caloric deficit, we don't have you in starvation mode anymore. So that's really what we're doing in this reset and recomp. The third phase that we take you through in our methodology is the fat loss phase. Now, we say that this is 12 to 20 weeks long because this is different for everybody. It depends on how you come to us. So for example, Brittany, you come to us pretty lean. So you would run through this methodology pretty quickly, but somebody that might have, say, 20 more pounds to lose than you, that could look very different. So it's going to look, and it's not just the weight and how lean it is, it's where your end result is. So somebody that would say is 20 pounds heavier than you may only want to lose 10 pounds and not be as lean as, say, you want to be. So again, this is why we say it's 12 to 20 weeks long, because this is going to look very different for everybody. And where you're at. But basically, at the end of the fat loss phase, this is, again, we're cycling carbs. And Jen will kind of talk about some of the very key points that you'll feel during each one. But as you are going through the fat loss phase, this is us getting you to your ultimate goal. What did you come to us with? Where did you really want to be? And that's what's happening during the fat loss phase. We're shedding that body fat, getting you to, in your case, Brittany, you want to see some jacked ass abs. We're getting you to the place where you're happy with that core. And once we get you there, then we move into that growth phase, because now we no longer need to have you in a caloric deficit anymore. In order to grow and develop and build the shape, that toned look that you all say that you want, which is really muscle development, we have shed that body coat of fat. We're starting to see the muscle development. And now comes the growth phase, where we start to give you that toned look, because we're creating that shape that you desire. Is it a rounder, more cap shoulder? Is it a little bit more of a V taper? Are we growing your back? Are we growing your glutes? Or maybe you're super happy with what you see after we've leaned you out, but it is that growth and maintenance phase. So if you're leaning into growth and we're going to continue to develop your shape, you're going to start to go into a caloric surplus. Or we're going to find that perfect balance of nutrition, because you no longer need to be in a deficit. So that's really what that fourth phase is. And no matter whether you're growing or developing maintenance during this last phase, what will happen is you're going to be learning what you need to do to develop a lifestyle. So this ultimately right here, this roadmap to success, again, as I said, you guys are all going to get this. You will have individual conversations with either Jen or I on where you live in this. It is already accessible to you. Jen uploaded it to your Ruby resources, so you can go get it, look at it in detail yourself. And again, when you have your one-on-one conversations with us, no matter whether if it's this week, next month, next year, we will always refer to this.
Mhm.
Okay, because this is your guide and you can refer to this based on where you are in the journey. So you'll be able to look at this, and again, we'll go through it and go, well, I'm in the fat loss phase currently, and we'll identify where you are as we have conversations with you. You can now look and see, like, well, this is where I'm expected to be at this point in time. These are the expected emotions. If I meet these expectations, these are the results. Now, why do you think that this is important?
Hi, Shannon.
Hi.
Can you unmute? Why do you think this is important?
For you.
For me, good
Mhm.
morning. That way we can see where we're at, what we've come through, what we have what we have to look forward to, and how to easier maybe set our goals and get it in our mindset, a better mindset, and continue working from there.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm late, ladies.
That's all right.
Boss wanted
You're
to
here.
talk.
Glad you're here.
Glad you're here. Brittany, anything you'd add to that on why this might be a really good tool for you guys?
Um, I mean, yeah, basically, it's important to know where we're at and track our progress because tracking is everything, right? In all areas of life, what you measure grows.
Yeah.
And then when you mess up, you know, like kind of where to like stabilize and then fix your mess and start again.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that. That's really good. Yeah, ultimately, all of those answers are correct. Yeah, we created this because it's also like, it's a guide for you to be self-accountable. It's a tool for, the coaches, but it's also ultimately a tool for you to create that self-accountability. Well, these are the weeks that I'm in. These are, the expectations that the coaches, Aesthetic Freedom, have for me. Am I meeting these? Because honestly, they lived here. Kind of unfair for me to have you meet expectations that are living right here between my ears versus living out and like mapping it out for you and being like, this is where you're expected to be in every part of this journey. Are you meeting these expectations? Because if you are, ultimately, this program works hands down. There is, without a shadow of a doubt, you will get jacked as fuck following this program if you follow the roadmap. Now you know what to do.
Yep.
And you know exactly how to feel. So Jen, I would say being they have access to this, I know that you looked at this several times. What I would love for you to do is just call out some like really super key things that they may not even realize that are, key points and, expectations in each one of these areas and even, feelings that they might
Like
be
the
having,
feelings.
that they're like, holy shit, like I have been feeling that. I didn't realize it was part of it.
Well, obviously in the beginning, it's very overwhelming because we're creating these new habits. And then there's that fear of the unknown. And believe, like I went through this program too. So I experienced every single emotion as I went through each one of these phases. But what's super important to understand for expectations for success is that obviously showing up to these calls every week, making sure that you're communicating with your coaches and being accountable by doing your check-ins, responding to your coach's feedback is super important for you to be able to be successful. One of the key things that I don't think everybody does enough of is submitting a minimum of 2 form videos a week. Super important, especially if you've never been in the gym before. So I started out and I just did home workouts or I did a class and I had no idea what it was like to be in the gym. So every time I got a new workout plan, especially, I was sending form check videos to Coach Jules every single Friday to make sure that I had proper form on every single exercise that I was executing. So I think that's super important, especially for those of you that have that are older, you know, that were in our 40s or late 40s and that have, you know, shoulder issues or back issues or anything like that. It's just helpful so that way it prevents injury. And then also like for me, like I've been in the program for 2.5 years and I still send form check videos because maybe there's an exercise that I haven't performed in quite some time. And I want to make sure that I'm engaging that muscle correctly and performing that exercise to the best of my ability. So that way I am getting the best out of my workout. So those are super important. And then establishing like a good bedtime and morning routine. You know, again, this program is unique because we focus a lot on mindset and we set you up for this to be a lifelong journey, a lifelong process, right? So what is the expectation when you get into your 70s and 80s, right? And doing these things, having these habits built or setting up for success is what's going to help you later on in life. And so that is like one of the key things that attracted me to this program. And then, of course, the feelings, you know, like when your metabolism revs up, like you're gonna feel hungry. You know, sometimes you get a new program or a new nutrition plan and you feel full as fuck. And then all of a sudden your metabolism ramps up and you're gonna feel hungry and you're gonna be like, what the fuck? I want to freaking eat some more, or think that you want to eat some more. And really you just need to, you know, hydrate yourself. But like those are the expected emotions and things that you're gonna go through as you progress through this program. So I think those are the key things that I wanted to point out, especially, you know, moving forward. Oh, and then the fat loss phase is super important because this is where we actually teach you Macro University, how to track your macros. So it's very important that you are entering your food into MyFitnessPal and learning how to make those swaps, you know, starting with proteins and then with the carbs and then with the fats. So that way you are, again, making this a lifelong journey, right? This is something that's going to sustain you in your 70s, 80s, and, you know, even to your hundreds.
I love it. Yes. And so guys, like what we will say from this, again, we will review all of this in much more detail on each one of your calls, but this is designed to be a tool for you. And we really encourage you to go find it in your resource collection. So in your Ruby resource collection. Jen, let's make sure Brittany is attached to one. I think she is, but make sure that you go in there, you get you take a look at this. And, you know, as Jen said, you know, a couple of key things that she pointed out, like in the fat loss, we talked about Macro University. This is going to be a non-negotiable as we go forward. Okay. So there's a lot of people, nobody on this call, I believe, that don't necessarily track their food and do it effectively. Well, as we mentioned, this is designed to not get you results that go away. This is designed to give you long-lasting, sustainable results. The only way that we can do this is to change your current habits and values, change the way that you're currently doing things. The only way that we can do that is to create new habits. We're not doing this asking you to learn to track your food to be a pain in your ass, to add another thing to your life. It's to create a habit. And believe it or not, Jen can testify to the fact that if you go through this, there becomes a point in time where the tracking, one, becomes super easy, and two, it's not as concrete as it has to be now, because what we're doing is just like building a muscle. We're putting in the reps, putting in the reps, putting in the reps, so that value, that habit becomes stronger and easier. And it literally is it's a mindset muscle that we're creating, that we're changing. And when you go on vacation, you're on a holiday, things that you typically would do in the past, you don't do anymore, and you don't even realize it. You're like, you have created habits and values, and you say you go off of your nutrition plan. Maybe you don't track when you're on a holiday. You'll find that you almost stick to your plan a little bit better, and it's very easy for you to bounce back. It's about teaching you to understand what's going in your mouth versus us always telling you, yeah, we're going to give you a meal plan. You're never going to be without one, whether it's a sample meal plan, whether you're on a carb cycle, whatever it might be on the journey, you're always going to have it, because one, we deal with women that are very high performance, that have demanding jobs. We understand that creating your own menu, your own plan is a pain in the fucking ass. So we're always going to give you that to rely on, to have something. But we also need to teach you the art of being able to move things around and stay in your macros. Make sense? So super important part of the journey. So we're going to start to become sticklers on that, and we'll always be going. So if we hear I'm not getting results, one of the biggest things that we will start to do is go back to the journey and say, well, here's where you are. Let's take a look at what, are we meeting the expectations or not? Does that sound fair? Sweet. All right. So here's the exciting part. We are also going to be doing something fun, and Brittany kind of tapped into the idea because she talked about the roadmap being, something that we need to do in all aspects of our life. So as you know, every year we always create a vision board. Well, and Jen just heard about this yesterday or 2 days ago, but we're going to do something a little bit different. So the next 3 calls, is it, Jen?
Yes.
Okay, so the next 3 calls, we're going to be working on building a freedom map for you. Okay? Aesthetic freedom map. So we're going to build a freedom map. That freedom map will be what becomes your vision board. So we're going to have a vision board party. I think it is Saturday the 18th, Jen?
Yeah. Yep.
So that'll be on a Saturday. We will do, if you've never done a vision board party with us before, we get on a call for about an hour. We do 30-minute breakouts. And we just really build, we prep you for it, but we kind of work on finishing them off or getting them started wherever you are in it on that call. It's super fun. Everybody likes it. Yep. We create one, you create however you want it is, but we do it as a group, and everybody really genuinely has a good time doing it. But we're going to one-up it this year, and we're going to create a freedom map. So you're going to have some homework to do over the next 3 calls. So if you're here, fantastic. If you're watching this on a replay, you are going to have homework to have. So the first thing that we're going to build on, here's where Brittany's going to go. This sounds really familiar. We're going to build a freedom map. Okay. So this is going to be your overarching year map. What do you want to achieve over this map or over this year? And the buckets that we're going to look at is we have 4 buckets. And these are going to be bucket number 1.
You better be writing this down.
Our family and friends. So this is going to be the bucket. So there's 4 on the freedom map: family and friends. So when you think of family and friends, this is your partner, your relationship with your partner if you have one. This is your relationship with your kids if you have one. You yourself, your relationship with yourself falls in here. So family and friends is looking at where you are. So if you're me and you're single, where in the family and friends area do I need to look at? Should I be dating? Are there things that I'm not looking at right now? What is my expectation in the family and friends? So, you don't have to have necessarily a partner right now. If you don't, have a husband, a wife, whatever this may be, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, You don't have kids. That doesn't mean this doesn't apply to you. This applies to your relationship with your family in general, your friends, and even yourself. So
Yeah.
looking at this bucket, the second bucket is fitness. Like, what do you want as far as fitness goes? What do you want your physique to look like? So think fitness and physique. The fourth one is faith. Okay, I don't care what your faith is, but this is more of a spiritual being connection with yourself. So, where do you sit with you in your faith and wherever it is? And then four is finances. So, that would be like, where are you? This is your career. This is where you financially are in your life. And again, career wise, finance wise, whatever this looks like, but it's that aspect of your life. Make sense? So freedom map with 4 F's. What's the first one, Shannon?
Wait, she's got this.
She does. I always do this to her.
Family and friends.
And the second,
Excuse me, sorry. Family and friends.
okay, what else? Well,
Got
you're off mute.
fitness, faith, and your finances.
Awesome. Great.
I wrote it down.
I love it. All right, you can stay there. So your objective over this week is to look in these areas, okay? From there, our next call, we're going to break it down to a monthly mission, and then we're going to break it down to weekly wars. This is going to make your check-ins make more sense. The reason why we are doing this is many of you don't understand what a stretch goal is. You put stretch goals down as following your meal plan. No. This freedom map that you are creating is ultimately your stretch goals. We're just renaming it. And what I want you to think of is the most impossible thing. Okay? Following your meal plan is not fucking impossible. Okay? What would go into something, say, fitness, body-wise, is something that feels super uncomfortable to you. Okay? That doesn't mean it's a bodybuilding competition.
Right.
It could be, but it does not mean that it is. But it needs to be super uncomfortable and feel like there is no way. So maybe it's a picture of J-Lo's ass. I don't know. Maybe it's you want to fit into a certain size or a specific dress, or you guys can give me ideas. But whatever it is, maybe you want to run a marathon. Maybe you want to be sitting at 10% body fat. Maybe but it has to feel uncomfortable and impossible. Same with finances. This might be an easier one to relate with. If you want $1 million, then fucking write it down. I'm not kidding. I'm guilty of this. I don't want to write that down. But if you want $1 million, because as we break this down, we want to teach you, not just with your body, not just with your family and friends. Listen, if you want to be in a new relationship, if you are not comfortable in the relationship or that you have, and I don't mean that you want to exit it, I mean like you want to have better sex. Great. Write that down. If
Yep.
you want to, and I don't care, like this is your journey. You don't necessarily have to tell, like you have to put these things down. I want a more freeing, open relationship. Maybe you're single. Paint the picture of the dude that you want. Who is it you want? This is about changing and shifting your mindset. So if you're single and you believe that you can never have a jacked dude or a jacked any partner in your life, paint that picture. I used to go around thinking that I would never be involved with any dude that looked like a fucking fitness anything. I dated for over 10 years a men's physique competitor that had the most banging body ever. Not to mention he was really young. So listen, And there was a point in time that I would have said that there was no way that I wasn't worthy of that. Do you see what I'm saying, guys? Like you have to pay, that's how this works. So wherever it is, with your faith, like I know that Jen has been going deep into this one a little bit more. She's really been connecting with this, but where do you want to be with your faith, your spiritual? And that is also like, do you want to be in a place where you have a better connection with yourself, that you have a better connection with God, source, universe, whomever it is you believe in? And then by creating this, maybe it's letting go of old shit. I don't know. There's lots of things that are involved when it comes to faith. And
Yeah.
it's about zooming out and really creating like what feels very uncomfortable and impossible. And I'm actually going to let Brittany talk a little bit because I know that she's done a little of this already and what this looks like. Because what we will do on the next call is we're going to break this down to what it could look like monthly. Because here's the idea. When you create this, now we can create a plan every month, and let's just use your body. How are we going to get you? Say you want to be a bodybuilder. Okay, so month one, what do we need to do to get you to where you need to be in the first quarter? What do we need to do? Ultimately, we want to get you to this place. Once we break down monthly goals, we're able to break it down into weekly. Do you see what happens? What feels fucking impossible suddenly becomes much more easy to digest and move forward with and ultimately hit that goal. And you may not 100% hit the $1 million mark. And I'm stealing this from Brittany because she had literally slapped me in the face with this. Maybe you only hit 500,000, but it's fucking better than, you see what I'm saying? I'll let you add in, Brittany. See, I get coached sometimes too by your random, even you guys come in and slap me across the face. Want me to help you?
The damn mute button, not the phones.
The phone is like, I
It's
think
the worst.
I'm sorry. I'm like trying to find my unmute button on my phone. So yeah, going back to what you were just saying, like for example, for me, finances, for 2025, my goal is $5 million, right? And most people, but for me, I'm like, oh, that's so doable. Most people think I'm fucking crazy. But with what I do, also with what Jules does, and if you're in the coaching consulting business, or it doesn't matter, it's all about like the value that you can provide to your customers. And you get to set that number. And I believe that everybody on this call, like I believe we've all invested in ourselves and becoming better so that we can offer better services. So it's like just reverse engineering that process and like mapping it out. Like I use my whiteboard for absolutely everything. It's like, so what I did was like, okay, here's the $5 million, and I'm like, okay, what's possible with what I do and what I offer. But then it's also not just like upfront money, right? It's also, and stop me if I'm getting too technical because this is like my jam. But it's also like what's the monthly recurring revenue, and like building that continuity into your business so you have actually something coming in. Like you want to be making money while you sleep, always. And it could be certain, it doesn't just have to be like one offer, one product, one service. It could be different components but that add to that. So like Jules was just saying, okay, like my goal is $5 million. If I make half of that or even 1.5 mil, am I going to be having a tantrum? Of course not. It's still pretty badass, but better to shoot for the stars with the impossible, what feels really uncomfortable. And if you fall a little short, so what? You keep going, and then eventually, then next year, we'll have the same conversation. My goal will probably be like, I don't know, 30 mil, something fucking astronomical, because I'm a dreamer. And that's okay, because that's what pushes us, right? Just like when I came to Jules and I'm like, okay, I want like 10% body fat or whatever, something ridiculous. That feels uncomfortable, but it's like that's what I feel like when we set these uncomfortable goals, it actually pushes us more, because it gets us like you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because now we just stay in our shit and then nothing changes, right?
Mhm.
And it's just like we're on the same vicious cycle. And I don't know about you ladies, but like, okay, like I know I'm 35 years old, but I'm like nowhere near where I want to be, right? And I've been through so much shit, and I'm just like, fuck, I could have already been there like 10 years ago, but because of the mistakes and lessons and all that, fine. I'm like, I don't want to let another year go by and be in the same situation, right? Like, I want to have my abs. I want to have my 5 minute, no, probably more than that. But like, I have certain like non-negotiables now moving into this new year. And there's like, I know I have to set boundaries, cut people out of my life, and work on my time management for sure. And also, this is big. I mean, Jules, like what I reached out to you when I was away. I was on vacation this past weekend and I fell off. And what's interesting was on Saturday night, like I threw up my like so much and my body was just like rejecting, right? Because I've been like so good. And then my body was just like, fuck you, or you're gonna eat a slice of pizza. That's not gonna go down. And literally like everything came up and I was like, it was just horrible, horrible, horrible. So, and then I came back sick too. So I was like, it's just a fucking disaster. But so now we're getting back on track. Sorry, I went off into a tangent,
Oh,
but I don't know if that
no,
was
it's perfect.
hopeful.
Perfect. No, I love what you said because, it's very true. And it's no matter where you are in your life, like as you can hear, Brittany's pretty solid when it comes to her finances and she understands what she wants and needs. And some of you guys may be like that. Most of you are here because, including Brittany, reaching out because you're not that great in your fitness and your body. But here's the thing, when you can turn one of these, all of them will start to turn together. So it's like if you win at one, you'll start seeing yourself win at others. Jen can testify that. Anybody that's been through this methodology, miraculously, when you win at one. So we in Aesthetic Freedom very much dial into your body. But we want you to take this freedom map and look at all aspects of your life as well and challenge yourself in every aspect and create a vision for it. And we've done this every year, guys, with vision boards. And many of you guys have, come to the calls and said, holy shit, like these things have happened since I created the vision board. But what we want to do this year is take it a step further, and really help you dial into your weekly check-ins and your forms. So like you're not just looking at these stretch goals and saying, fuck, Jesus Christ, I don't want to write another one of these. Help you understand where they are. So you've got this freedom map that you're looking at. And we're going to be creating, as I said, so like what'll happen every month when you have, so tying this back to the roadmap, when you check in with your coach every month or every 90, we're going to take a look and go, okay, where are we with these goals? What do we need to do? Like you'll be able to do a lot of this on your own, and your weekly, check-ins will be based off of your freedom goals and your monthly goals that you create off your freedom. And that's what you will do every week. It's about us creating. We wanted to create more of a structure for you to help you ultimately get to where you want to go, but in all aspects of your life. So that's really what this is. So in a nutshell, whether you're listening to the recording or you're here with me right now, or you're in the evening call, your goal to come to next Tuesday's call with is your freedom map. And I'm giving you a whole week to do this because I really want you to live with this. This shouldn't be something that you do in an hour. This is something that you should do in an hour and revisit every day. This is something that you should, if you meditate on. This is something that you really have to like look at it. And if you look at something, you're like, no, that's not really what I want. What I really want is this. But I'm not going to write that down because, as Brittany just said, who on here, raise your hand right now. I want, besides Brittany, because her hand's going to go up, would dare to write down that they want $5 million on a piece of paper right now. You would? Sweet, do it. Good. I
Love it.
love that. Brittany's here to help support you. I'll sidebar you two and she'll give you a plan. But like, yeah, you got to write that down. Like, what is it that you want? If it scares the fucking shit out of you to write it down, then guess what? That's really what you should be putting down. If saying that I want to be a size 8 and I want to fucking look like Jennifer Dittman, I want to look like Jules, I want to look like J-Lo. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with names here that you guys would know. Write it down. There's nothing wrong with that. If there's a picture that you look at all the time of your 20-year-old self, and you're like, I just want that physique back. Or there's an ideal image in your head. That's what it was for me. I had an ideal image in my head. I really didn't know who, there was not a name, a person attached to it. It was just a avatar, an altar. It was something that I perceived and built in my mind, and I found pictures and created that body. So you might not know exactly who it was. Like I just could see it. I could envision it, and it felt impossible to me. There was no way that that girl that was 48 years old was going to look like that, but I just took it and I pieced it together, and bada bing, bada boom, she just appeared.
Or just like the feelings of it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because
That's a good.
when I first started this, when I first did the first vision board, like in the back of my mind, I've always been attracted to a muscular physique, right? And I've always like admired that and looked at that in awe. And I was just like, oh, I had this preconceived idea that, you know, you had to have a certain genetics in order to have that physique. And then as I progressed through this program, I realized that I had that control to create that physique for myself. And so I wasn't, you know, I had no desire whatsoever to be a competitor bodybuilder. And then all of a sudden, like the fleeting thought came into my mind, well, what if? And I was like, oh no, I didn't want to write it down because I was like, no, that's not for me. Again, those preconceived ideas that I've, you know, the stories that I've told myself for years and years and years, you know, through whatever, you know, like if it was my childhood or what I heard from, you know, somebody else, like, you know, I had these stories in my head that I kept telling myself. And then all of a sudden, like I had that thought and I just put it on my vision board, and lo and behold, fucking 46 years old, I'm standing up on stage being a competitor bodybuilder for the first time. So, you know, like now I'm like, okay, now what's next, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. So I like that. So if you don't even, and I'm glad you said that, if it's just a feeling about any of these, then write down the feeling. But the idea is that it isn't, and trust me, if you come to Monday's call that or next Tuesday's call with I want to be 100% of my nutrition as an impossible game, you're gonna have to do it all over again. That's not the name of the game. I want to feel, I want to see and hear some pretty impossible things. And then what we'll do next Tuesday is we'll break those down into what can that look like for the month. And then ultimately the next week we'll break it down into a week, and then we'll get on a vision board party. And you can start this at any point in time. You can start collecting them now, but on the 18th, what we'll do is we'll create the vision of the freedom map. Okay, because ultimately all of these things will help. So when you visually can see it, you write it down, and then we create the plan that goes along with it. That is how we're going to see that success. Make sense? So the freedom map and the vision will go hand in hand, but leading up to the vision board party, we will also break things down. So when you walk away on the 18th, you've got like, you know, exactly what you're going to do to smoke the rest of this year.
Who's excited?
I'm doing mine tonight. It's just like a New Year's ritual thing. And
Yeah.
also like what you were saying, attaching, I'm just pulling it from Dr. Joe Dispenza, his meditations.
Yeah.
Attaching the feeling and the emotion behind the visual is key for manifestation. Like so it's like if it's like the bodybuilding body, like for Jen, it's like you visualize yourself getting on stage and how what's that feeling attached to you getting on stage and even winning if that's part of it too. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, I love that. Yes.
Very, very true. Yes, Joe Dispenza is the bomb. And that is true. Like you had, and that's exactly what we're trying to do here is create all of that. And if, you know, your part of your plan is you do a vision board every year, that's totally cool. We still would love you on the call, because what we'll do is we'll go over it all together. Some of you guys don't, so this will just be a fun way to like start to map all of this out for the rest of the year.
Well, and then sharing it, being able to share it with somebody too, because again, it's bringing it to reality.
Mm.
It's having that feeling of excitement and looking forward to it. And okay, what do I do in order to get this? So having that plan.
Awesome. I love
Okay.
those of you that joined, thanks. We will post this recording in the Convos with Jules. I'm going to actually stop recording it right now.